Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to go over the top 5 champions that I think are great for climbing out of low elo in the mid lane. Now, couple of things before we get into it. I just wanted to say these are my personal opinion. I do have a lot of experience climbing through the mid lane. I've made it to diamond by playing mid lane only and support and top, so I have a good amount of experience through all the roles. So these are just kind of like a educated guess at the best champions you can play when you're in low elo. Obviously it's going to be different for different players that have different types of play styles, but you should at least have one of these in your champion pool if you are looking to climb through the mid lane. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational videos, I do guides, tips, also stream sometimes on YouTube, so make sure to hit that bell button if you want to check those out. I do kind of like a flex sometimes play custom, sometimes just play ranked and chat with any viewers if they have any questions. So make sure to come to those if that is your cup of tea. Now, if you're wondering about my experience, I peaked at Diamond 3 promos. Yeah, I'm mostly a mage player, so a lot of these are going to be mages, but the reason why I think mages are going to be really good for climbing out of low elo is they're easier to execute than the fighters and the assassins that you see down there. Alright guys, and let's jump right into number 5. Alright, and getting into number 5, we got the Donger. We got the best blind pick, in my opinion, champion. They're very limited champions that do exceedingly well into Heimerdinger. Maybe something like a really well played Syndra can do well because she can grab your turrets and throw it at you. But this champion is really good because there isn't really a point where Heimerdinger is exceedingly weak. He's pretty strong once he hits his level 3 and scales decently well into the game and can have a huge impact in those team fights when he is landing those AoE grenades that are can just do an insane amount of damage with the rocket follow-up. He's very good with just being adaptable to what's happening with whether it's the alt Q if there's a bunch of divers, and alt W if he's looking to one-shot someone, or an alt E if they're looking to just get as much CC and engage the fight. Now, the reason why I think Heimerdinger is just a champion that can really be strong, if you're one of those people that are just like, shit, I just keep losing to the same champion over and over again. You keep getting first pick and you keep feeling like you get counter pick. You just pick up Heimerdinger, play that great blind pick. You just stun the divers right when they get on top of you. You get an early Zhonya's if they have a lot of threat on you, and Heimerdinger is just such a great safe blind pick. And that'll wrap up number 5. Speaking of blind pickable champions, we have Morgana. Now, Morgana, boy, is she really strong after her rework. I know they just added a little bit more damage on her W and the increased movement speed on her ult, but she is can be quite a terror in solo queue. Now, the reason why I think she's extremely strong to carry with is because when you do go full AP, your damage is extremely surprising, and you can just single-handedly carry late game team fights if you get your tether on a bunch of champions and then Zhonya's off any retaliatory damage. Also, there are going to be a lot of divers and melee champions that people are going to be playing low elo. Like, you'll see a lot of Yasuo's, you'll see a lot of Vaynes, so people that really excel with Black Shield. Morgana, I know she's considered a support usually, but she's starting to see a lot more play in LCK pro play, and I think that she is such a great champion. You can even go the Frozen Augment build where you can just get a guaranteed root on an enemy champion, and just the amount of CC. Her kit is just an amazing kit to bring into the game and can provide so much for your team. And if you're ever looking for something to play into Morgana, holy crap. Or not to play into Morgana, to play into LeBlanc. Morgana is the ultimate LeBlanc counter with her Black Shield, and then just being able to ult and still see where she is with the clone. And oh, this is just a great matchup. So this is actually my pocket counter pick when I see a LeBlanc and I'm playing in the mid lane. So that will wrap up number 4. Alright, and jumping into number 3, now we have Karthus. Yeah, he can be bullied out of the mid lane quite hard, not like the other 2 champs I've talked about, but what we get with Karthus is just a fail-proof late game where all you have to do is somehow just scrape together some farm, maybe get some kills with your ult assisting the enemy or your ally laners, and just doing extremely well with your early game damage, strong Qs, And you don't even really have to hit your Qs too much in the late game. All you have to be there is for a really strong ult. You can do a bunch of different builds, just depending on what the enemy team has and what you need to provide for your team. He's just such a insanely strong champion. He's extremely easy to CS with once you get used to those Qs and the isolated damage. You can just do so much damage to those minions, and you can get lane priority quite easily, and then even roam and help your jungler secure scuttles. So Karthus is one of my really big picks that whenever someone's looking to just kind of pick up a mage in the mid lane, I say Karthus, Karthus, Karthus. He's so insanely strong. He's been nerfed a little bit, but he's still the same old Karthus. I mean, he's still going to one-shot those squishies in the late game if they haven't built to prevent it with like Zhonya's or Garden Angel or Hex Drinker or whatever. So if you are looking for a good champion that can push in the lane really strong and assist your team, if you're one of those low elo players that complain, I always get shitty teams, try out Karthus. You might be surprised to see what you can do when you're able to assist your team quite a bit more with a global ult. And that will wrap up number 3. All right, and for number 2, we have Malzhar. Now, he is the premier champion for people that get auto-filled into mid lane and just need an extremely safe way to play out the laning phase and be an extremely effective champion in the late game team fight. He is extremely effective into particular champions like fighters like Yasuo and Master Yi, where you can just pop an ult on them and they are forced to just sit there and wait it out or spend a shitload of money on a QSS. So, great things about Malzhar. If you're one of those people that struggle with CS, his Voidlings and his E just shred waves. You're able to push things out so quickly, and you're able to actually scale really well. Your abilities do so much damage in the late game. People don't really understand what your Q and your E can really, just the amount of damage output you have with those in the late game, and the silence cannot be underrated. Extremely safe pick, and if you are one of those people that say, maybe you just play a bunch of enchanters and tanks in the support lane, or maybe you play a bunch of tanks up in the top lane or fighters, and you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do when I play this mid lane Malzhar? This is, when I play mid lane, this is the champion for you. It's extremely easy to execute and get a hold of, maybe 2 games, 3 games at the most, and you will be a good, at least a decent Malzhar, and be able to do your pretty simple job of just a point and click CC on the enemy's most fed champion. And that will wrap up number 2. All right, and jumping into number 1, I know you guys probably saw this coming with Annie, the absolute queen of low elo, with the 1 out of 3 difficulty mark right there. So what I want you guys to understand about Annie is she allows you to get a really good handle on your macro play and your rotations, because her micro is so insanely simple that you can focus on other things. Some really big upsides if you struggle with CS. Obviously, her Q is just an amazing tool for CSing. Her ult is a very simple engage and all-in in the mid lane if you struggle with trading. She's insane with roams. If you go down to the bot lane with Ignite, Flash, and your ult up, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to get a kill there if they are pushed up in the lane. She'll get you extremely used to sitting in a bush and sitting with a control ward and sweeping it out and waiting for people to pass by and you just one-shotting them. She is just a great pick. If you are serious at all about climbing right now and you want to get out of low elo and you're like, you just feel like you're in elo hell, just give Annie a go. Play 15 games of only Annie, and I think you'll do exceedingly well. You'll far surpass your expectations of what the champion can do. You can play this champion all the way up to Challenger. It's not kind of like a champion that's like a low elo crusher. It can still do well in the higher elos, at least where I've seen. I guess I consider like my diamond ranking is kind of like a mid elo. It's not really exactly low elo, it's not really exactly high elo, so it kind of it works at least into low into mid elo, and you'll be able to pick up a lot of champions after Annie. She's just a great stepping stone where you go, you just start, you learn how to crawl, then learn to walk, and then to run. And Annie is crawling, and just getting really good at this champion can really just help you climb at such an amazing pace that I think that you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a mid laner and you are not playing this and you're in bronze, iron, silver, or gold. So that wraps up my list. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Maybe hit me up with what your top 5 favorite champions are. I'm open to all kind of video suggestions if you guys are really wanting to see a specific champion, maybe a tips video that I've done so many of them. Another thing, I have a bunch of tip videos for these champions. I think, let me see here. I have a tip video for Heimerdinger, Morgana, and Karthus. Still haven't done one for Malzhar and Annie, but I'm definitely going to get around to those, and I hope you check those out. That'll wrap up the video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, guys, take it easy.